Hey, Aquarius. So, 2021. Yeah, it's your year. Your name is a buzzword. Age of Aquarius, era of Aquarius, Jupiter, Saturn in Aquarius. And everybody's into astrology. And as an Aquarius, Mercury and Venus, I can completely agree that this is weird. People saying Aquarius, it's just weird. For one thing, people who are Aquarius are a little weird. We're a little strange. We like to be outside the box. We're not leading the sheep. We're behind them, watching why they're being led in the first place and analyzing it. Mercury is in Aquarius with Lilith. Mercury is it's how we get the message. It's not necessarily the information. It's our reception to the information. It's the frequency that we sit on. That's it. When Mercury comes through your sign, you're getting reconnected with information so that there's less static on the connection. You're tuning in. When Mercury comes through your sign, you're tuning into your own source of frequency. Saturn and Jupiter coming through your sign. 12 years ago, Jupiter came through your sign, and it would have made you expand, travel. You probably would have joined in groups and families and had lots of fun. You may have become religious or found God, or in the completely opposite, it may be that you strayed away from God and you felt that you didn't feel connected to religion anymore. Either way, when Jupiter comes through, it's about expansion of your persona, your personality, your body. But it's coming with Saturn this time, which means that it's restricted. It's restricted multiplication. It's restricted growth. It's, especially with Mercury here, it's quick, fast growing, speedy, especially, and because Lilith is here, it's chaotic. It's not predictable. But you will be receiving a lot of information, spiritual information, physical information, things that are related to your physical structures in your life. So information about your lineage, your heritage may come up. This is because of Saturn. Any karmic related things to your father, and this is a big deal. I'm going to say this again. I said this in other videos. Saturn coming into Aquarius is in its rulership, even though it was happy in Capricorn because that's also mutual rulership. This is the epitome of you strengthening yourself. For Aquarian people, when Saturn returns to its position, now this, for anybody who's Aquarius rising and then also has high Aquarius placement, so say Neptune and Uranus were conjunct, that's a big, even though it's happened in Capricorn, it is a big Aquarian energy. And anybody who's got a large amount of Capricorn and Aquarius rising, there's a large amount of karma coming through generationally. You're getting it from almost like it came because others came before you, and you are not breaking generational curses as much of adding to the evolution of the spirit that is existent in the family in the first place. Many cultures theorize, and I believe it too, that spirit is something that is in us all, and it connects us all, and it has no form or face, right? So I digress a little bit here, but I wanted to give you a little bit of a heads up because yes, you will be, there's a buzzword of your name, and yes, everybody's talking about the age of Aquarius, but this isn't all on you. However, the information that you receive in the next year, and actually the next 2.5 years, because it'll be the entire time Saturn's in your rulership, but especially January 9th, 2021, and the week following, massive informational downloads for you. You are going to be getting, it'll honestly feel like old information to you. As soon as you realize it, you're like, I always knew that. Every single time. That's going to happen over and over again this year. And it's because there is Jupiter and Saturn coming together in your sign, and Saturn rules your sign. So Saturn is in his boss placement, able to control and manipulate and manage, really, and structure the growth. So you're not going to be having expansion flying you this way and flying you that way and flying you this way and flying you that way. You're going to be having expansion delivered in concrete, stable formats. Now, it may not feel like a lot of the people, if you have Jupiter in Aquarius and this is a return for you, then it's definitely not going to feel like the last one 12 years ago where you were able to breathe and move and expand and even, literally physically move places. You're not going to be able to do this time. Obviously, everybody's experiencing the crunch down with the um, structured expansion. Um, but you'll have to excuse me. I've got a bunch of my little babies here, um, and they're on the internet, which is, we found out today in Southern Ontario that there's not going to be any school for public schooling. It's indefinite now. They're closed it down and made it in Southern Ontario, Canada. They've made it so that we don't know when school's going back on. So, I mean, the internet happening with Jupiter and Saturn together, that controlled expansion, that's very in line with public schools going online. It's very in line with everybody working from home. It's structured expansion. It's compartmentalized multiplication. Like it's divided but expanding. For you, a lot of this is going to create tension. The things you say and the things that come to mind and the things that you encounter this year and the revelations you have and the truths you face and the structures you face and the struggles you face and the obstacles you face this year because of Saturn in your sign will completely result in a change of the way you deal with your homes and your root and how you feel about, where you came from and how you grew up. It's going to trigger that. You're going to feel heated about it. You're going to be angry. It's going to help you decide where you cut off the sunshine. Help you decide who really deserves that proud, beautiful expansion love that you have to give. You're not going to be offering that to just anybody anymore. You're going to be making some serious cuts. And super, like, really, really importantly, when it comes to work, you will be deciding the fate of everything around you. It won't just be, hey, can you work this shift and cover for this person? It would be, hey, if you don't do that, we might lose this business and then you're out of a job. You know what I mean? Like, your place is very important. And if you don't stand in those places and do that work, there's nobody else who's going to do it, and you're going to see things fall down. So really, it's about deciding where your effort's going to go. So the reason that I plotted this specific day is because Venus and Mercury and Mars will all be at 1 degree, and the moon will be moving at 1 degree, into 1 degree, for the moment that I cast this chart. When the personal planets are all lining up like that, it's an activation. We're all starting something. So we're starting Venus in Capricorn. We just had all that shit in Capricorn over the last 2 years, so now we're getting blessed, where we have seen the pain and we have seen the losses, family-related stuff, relationship stuff. We've seen a lot of losses when it came to the way people structure their own worlds and structure their own belief systems about work and government and really any powers that be. All of those things are changing now. So when we adjust these kind of things and Venus comes through, where we have seen those sacrifices, when Venus transits over a place that Pluto and Saturn have conjuncted and Jupiter has been there, when we get a Venus coming up in here, we have a kind of a ray of pleasant energy on top of that. So it's kind of as if like we all just got hit by a car about a month ago and we're in recovery and they just found the good drugs. It's kind of like that, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to get a little hopeful, a little more excitable. People will be more expressive about what they want to see for structural, foundational measures of success. People are going to be talking about it. People are going to be communicating about it. People are going to be driven to succeed their own permanence in the world and their own ability to be shining the brightest in their partnerships, because a lot of what's going on in Aquarius is happening. I mean, it happens in Aquarius, but it's happening across the zodiac. Everybody's feeling this. The fixed signs are getting kicked in the face. The air signs are getting pleasantly supported. And it's not something we can just pass by and be like, oh, it's not going to be a big day. This is an activation day. So January 9th, 2021, I want you to pay attention to the words you hear, the things people say to you, and the way that you feel in reaction, most importantly, to anything that comes into your personal circle. And this doesn't mean hibernate. This doesn't mean like go hide away in a place away from the world so you can be untriggered. That's not evolution. That's not helping. You need to stretch yourself out there and take on the responsibility now, because as quirky and as weird as Aquarius energy is, it's still Saturn. It stands the test of time. It is unforgettable and unavoidable. We must get to the community before we can get to the spirituality. So everybody's going to be coming to you. I will say you are going to feel some hits. I mean, your pocket has been getting hits for a long time. Neptune's been going through your second house since 2011. And it's right now sitting at like 22 degrees or 18 to 22 degrees over the next couple of months. And that's how slow it moves. It takes months to just move 1 or 2 degrees, and then it retrogrades back over them. While Neptune has been in your second house of Pisces, you've definitely had like a very elusive relationship with money, which you always did, but when Neptune got in there, it would have made it almost ethereal. Like you could wish for it and then it was there, or you just, put a little mind into it and then it developed, or you just stopped paying attention completely for a minute and then it was all gone. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of energy with Neptune coming through. Now, Ceres, for this activation, Ceres is actually in pretty close proximity. Ceres is like a feminine version of Saturn. She's one of the oldest feminine goddess energies to be incorporated. She is the energy that literally will cut off the world supply of every piece of love if it means that she's been separated from those that she has loved and protected and cared for. So it's kind of mama bear energy. And so with that coming into Neptune, I want to say that you're probably going to be a little bit more careful, and you're going to notice where your money goes. There should be a lot of like taking stock and organizing so that wishy-washy ability can actually work in your favor instead of against you. Third house Chiron still activated. So this is the big one that I was talking about at the beginning of this, about how we're all kind of weirdos and wallflowers or leaders. It's one or the other. Chiron in the first house is always making us feel like shit about that. And Chiron's not leaving for like 6 years or something like that. So we got a long time to deal with this. And Chiron will be in aspect, positive aspect, mind you, to Lilith, Mercury, Saturn, and Jupiter in the first of Aquarius, in the first degrees of Aquarius. That is a positive thing because it Chiron in Aries is teaching us how our ego is actually our worst enemy. It's teaching us how licking our wounds doesn't heal them. It makes them infected. And therefore, the real lessons of Chiron are recognizing your pain as a badge of honor that you've made it past, not some place that you live in. A lot of that relevance of like standing up for yourself after you let yourself become a victim. A lot of that is going to be activated in this activation transit because there is a positive trine to Mercury. So a lot of the message that everybody is getting is very much about the ego wound. Okay, so that's also about the I'm not good enough wound, or they don't love me, or I've been abandoned, or nobody wants me. All of those kind of clusterfuck things in your head, that's the stuff that everybody's been feeling. Well, we got in lockdown and kind of stuck with our own feelings, right? So we have to absorb that. I think it's going to be you that really takes that position that people can follow, in which you're like, well, I'm weird, but that's why I'm me. And everyone's like, oh, we don't have to be ashamed of it. Oh, okay, we can get up and, you know what I mean? You're going to lead that way. It's a very Aquarian way of thinking, to accept yourself. Lots of aggressive conversations, no doubt. You're going to be talking a lot. You're going to be having a lot of aggressive, strange, isolating conversations. It'll be an argumentative time. You've got a lot to say. You're very strong in your argumentative state. But ultimately it's about changing the way that you think so that you can think faster, so that you can be more precise in the way that you ground yourself, in the way that you feel sturdy in who you are. That's going to change now and shift so that it has more to do with uh, kind of the protection that you get from being weird. There is a alienation that you get by being able to stand up and say whatever's on your mind. That's going to be highlighted and blessed. I say blessed because Venus is making a trine to Mars. So that strange weirdness that you stand in, that you're proud of, and that you can get a little aggressive and protective about, is making a strong aspect to the moon in Sag. So January 9th, like I said, this activation date, the moon will be in Sag with Juno. And that's our strategy. That's our long view strategy partnerships that we are focusing on to see where we can go next. Because this is a Gemini North Node. Any activation happening in Gemini is going to pair you with someone. It's going to twin you with someone. And this is definitely about finding the people that are right for your tribe, okay? That's for everybody, but especially for you. You guys are the leaders of the tribe. Don't forget that. North Node Gemini, again, this is a big deal when it comes to creative results and being joyful and finding pleasure. Big vertex for you is in the 6th house. You're going to change the things that you do, probably get a new job. 7th house, you are cutting people off. 8th house, there's going to be some karmatic results for you, Aquarius, in the 8th house. You're actually going to see some very positive karmatic results, maybe insurance. I'm hearing inheritance too. But yeah, watch the big mouth thing. People who don't like what you have to say don't need to be around them. Anyways, cheers, Aquarius. Thanks for waiting. I'll get this uploaded to YouTube as soon as possible.